Story 1 title. The cursed birthday invitation. On the eve of her 12th birthday, Emily received an unusual invitation. The envelope, sealed with a blood-red wax seal, bore no return address. Curiosity and a dash of apprehension led her to open it, revealing an intricately designed card adorned with dark, foreboding symbols. The invitation read, "You are cordially invited to the midnight masquerade, a birthday celebration like no other. Wear your mask, but beware, for not all guests are what they seem." Emily couldn't resist the allure of a mysterious party, and the promise of a unique birthday experience intrigued her. She prepared her costume, a Venetian-style mask with intricate lace patterns and dark feathers that concealed her identity. On the night of her birthday, Emily arrived at the designated address, an eerie, dilapidated mansion hidden deep within the woods. Moonlight cast eerie shadows over the twisted trees that surrounded the mansion, their branches resembling gnarled skeletal fingers. Entering the mansion's grand hall, Emily was met with a surreal sight. Guests in elaborate masks and opulent costumes danced to eerie, discordant music. Strangers adorned in elaborate attire twirled and whirled, their eyes concealed by masks that revealed nothing but their smiles. As the clock neared midnight, a masked figure approached Emily, extending a gloved hand in invitation to dance. She accepted, and they waltzed gracefully around the room. The figure's presence was enchanting, but something about their masks sent shivers down Emily's spine. At the stroke of midnight, the music stopped abruptly. The masked guests turned to face Emily. Their smiles twisted into malevolent grins. The room seemed to darken as the masks they wore transformed into grotesque, nightmarish visages. Terrified, Emily tried to flee, but the doors and windows were sealed shut. The masked guests closed in around her, their laughter echoing with a haunting, otherworldly quality. The masked figure who had danced with Emily revealed their face, revealing hollow eyes and a ghastly, toothy maw. It was a monstrous creature masquerading as human. Emily's heart raced as the guests began to chant in an eerie, ancient language. In the final, dreadful moment, they removed their own masks, revealing twisted, grotesque visages beneath. Emily's scream was drowned out by the cacophonous laughter that surrounded her. And then darkness swallowed her whole. The next morning, Emily's family found her lifeless body in her bedroom, still dressed in her masquerade attire. The invitation, now a sinister reminder, had vanished without a trace. No one in the small town could explain Emily's mysterious death, and her family could never escape the feeling that they were being watched. The cursed birthday invitation remained an unsolved mystery, a chilling tale whispered in the darkest corners of the town, serving as a reminder that some celebrations were better left unattended. Story 2 title. The haunting of Emma's 16th birthday. Emma had always been fascinated by the supernatural, so for her 16th birthday, she asked her parents for an unusual gift. Her parents reluctantly agreed, and they invited a mysterious medium to conduct the séance at their secluded family cabin. As the clock struck midnight on her 16th birthday, the medium began the séance. A circle of candles flickered in the dimly lit room as Emma, her parents, and a few close friends held hands around a table. The medium chanted incantations, attempting to bridge the gap between the living and the dead. Suddenly, the room grew ice cold, and the candles extinguished, plunging them to darkness. Emma felt a strange presence in the room, a malevolent force that sent shivers down her spine. She tried to pull away, but her hands remained locked with the others. A sinister whisper filled the room. "Happy birthday, Emma." Terrified, she recognized the voice. It was her deceased grandmother, Margaret, who had tragically passed away on her 60th birthday. Tears welled up in Emma's eyes as she stammered, "Gee, Grandma." The table started to shake violently, and a ghostly hand emerged from the darkness, grabbing Emma's wrist with an icy grip. She screamed as the room filled with the anguished voices of the dead. Emma's friends and parents tried desperately to break the circle, but an invisible force held them in place. Margaret's spirit materialized before Emma, her eyes devoid of warmth, her voice filled with eerie menace. She uttered cryptic warnings about secrets buried in the family's past and a looming darkness that threatened to consume them all. The seance spiraled into a night of terror, leaving Emma and her family forever changed by the haunting presence that had been awakened on her 16th birthday. Story 3 title: The Cursed Camera. A tale of haunting secrets in a small town shrouded in mystery. Aria's 16th birthday was fast approaching. She had always been drawn to the paranormal and the unknown, and her friends knew it. To celebrate this milestone, they decided to take her to an abandoned mansion, rumored to be haunted. The mansion stood atop a hill, its dark, imposing silhouette casting an eerie shadow over the town. It had been abandoned for decades, with tales of restless spirits and unexplained phenomena surrounding it. Aria's excitement was palpable as she and her friends ventured inside, armed with flashlights and their daring curiosity. As they explored the mansion's dimly lit rooms, a sense of foreboding washed over them. Whispers seemed to echo through the walls, and cold drafts sent shivers down their spine. But Aria was undeterred. She had always been fascinated by the unknown, and this was her chance to uncover the mansion's secrets. In one of the decaying rooms, Aria discovered an old, dusty camera resting on a wooden table. It was an antique, covered in cobwebs, and seemed oddly out of place. With a mischievous grin, Sarah, one of Aria's friends, handed the camera to her and encouraged her to take a photo. Aria aimed the camera at an ornate mirror, and as the flash went off, a sense of dread washed over her. The room seemed to grow colder, and the air felt heavy with an unexplained presence. Aria quickly retrieved the developed photo and stared at it in shock. In the picture, her own reflection was distorted and contorted into a grotesque, nightmarish visage. Her eyes were hollow and dark, her skin pallid and her mouth stretched into an unnerving grin that seemed to reach her ears. Aria couldn't believe her eyes. Terrified and bewildered, she showed the picture to her friends. Gasps of horror filled the room as they all witnessed the sinister transformation in the photo. Sarah, who had given Aria the camera, looked especially alarmed. It must be a glitch. Someone suggested nervously, but Aria couldn't shake the feeling that something malevolent lurked within the camera. She decided to take another photo, this time aiming it at her friends. As the flash went off, the room plunged into darkness, and the sound of shattering glass echoed through the mansion. When the lights flickered back on, the antique camera lay on the floor, shattered into pieces. Aria's friends were shaken but unharmed. However, they knew they had to leave the mansion immediately. As they hurried out of the haunted house, they couldn't help but wonder if the camera had somehow captured the mansion's malevolent spirit. Aria, deeply unsettled, vowed never to dabble with the paranormal again. Little did she know that the sinister entity from the cursed mansion had left its mark on her. In the following weeks, Aria began to experience terrifying nightmares and strange occurrences. Whispers echoed in the dark corners of her room, and her reflection in mirrors seemed to shift and contort when she wasn't looking. Desperate for answers, Aria delved into the mansion's history, only to uncover a chilling truth. The camera she had used was once owned by a photographer who had disappeared under mysterious circumstances while documenting the mansion's paranormal activity. Now, as Aria's 16th birthday approached, the malevolent presence from the mansion had grown stronger, and it was coming for her. The camera, broken but not powerless, held the key to its dark intentions. On the eve of her 16th birthday, Aria ventured back to the abandoned mansion, clutching the broken camera. She hoped to confront the entity and put an end to the curse once and for all. But as she entered the mansion's decrepit halls, the malevolent presence closed in around her, and whispers of the past filled the air. The night was long, and Arya's fate remained uncertain. Would she uncover the mansion's secrets and break the curse, or would she become another tragic chapter in its dark history? Only time would reveal the chilling truth. Story 4, Tartar title. The haunting birthday bash on the eve of her 13th birthday. Jessica couldn't contain her excitement. She had invited all her friends for a sleepover in her family's ancient mansion, nestled deep within the woods. The mansion had a history, one whispered about in hushed tones by the townsfolk. As night fell and the girls gathered in the grand hall, they felt the mansion's eerie aura. Jessica shrugged it off, chalking it up to ghost stories and overactive imaginations. They began with games, laughter echoing through the cavernous rooms. But as the clock struck midnight, the atmosphere turned frigid. The laughter faded, replaced by the howling of the wind outside. The girls tried to ignore the unease and delved into the birthday cake. Just as Jessica blew out the candles, the mansion's grand chandelier flickered ominously, then plunged the room into darkness. Panicked whispers filled the blackness. Sarah, one of Jessica's friends, screamed. Suddenly a spectral figure appeared before them, illuminated only by the faint moonlight trickling through the curtains. It was a girl of Jessica's age, in a tattered party dress, her face obscured by a deathly mask. She reached out her hand toward Jessica. Everyone watched in horror as Jessica, as if compelled, took the ghostly girl's hand. The mansion shook violently, and the girl's screams reverberated. Furniture flew across the room and paintings rattled on the walls. The chandelier crashed to the floor. When the chaos subsided, the room was empty except for Jessica, standing alone in the darkness. Her friends had vanished, leaving her in the haunted mansion. Jessica's voice trembled as she whispered, "Happy birthday." To this day, the mansion stands silent and desolate, a place feared by the town. Jessica's voice can sometimes be heard on the wind, singing a haunting birthday song that chills the hearts of anyone who dares to venture near. Story 5 title, Clown's Curse. The 10th birthday terror of my family has been under an eerie curse for generations. At every child's 10th birthday, an uninvited clown would mysteriously appear. My earliest recollection of this unsettling tradition takes me back to my cousin Jake's 10th birthday party. I was merely 5 years old, but the commotion surrounding the clown left a lasting impression. My parents tried to prepare me before we left our house and on the drive there. "There's going to be a clown at Jake's party," my dad said. My dad said, "Just be nice, all you have to do is be nice," my mom added. I couldn't fathom why they were so concerned. Weren't clowns supposed to be a staple at birthday parties? Upon our arrival at Jake's house, an inexplicable tension hung in the air. Children gleefully played in the backyard, bouncing on the inflatable castle. Meanwhile, the adults stood around in silence, their eyes darting restlessly while some aunts and uncles intermittently shuffled in and out of the house. It was as though everyone was anxiously anticipating something. As I joined my cousins in the bouncy castle, my curiosity was piqued by a rustling in the bushes near the gate leading to the backyard. Continuing to bounce higher with each leap, I strained to get a better view of the source of the commotion. At last, I spotted the clown emerging from behind the bushes, deftly unlatching the gate. I halted my bouncing and struggled to maintain my balance as I watched the clown step into the yard, firmly closing the gate behind him. My fingers pressed through the mesh of the bouncy castle, and my face was plastered against it as I fixated on the clown's peculiar appearance. He was diminutive, adorned in a curly, rainbow-colored wig. His pallid face appeared naturally white, not painted, and his lips were strikingly red. His enormous round red nose and unfathomably dark eyes set him apart. 2 black lines ran down his eyelids to the tops of his rosy cheeks, which had an inflated appearance. His porcelain, smooth skin seemed surreal, Clad in yellow polka-dot pants held up by red suspenders, he wore a white shirt adorned with oversized red buttons, and red ruffles encircled his neck, chest, and sleeves. Shiny red clown shoes and a gift bag in one hand completed his peculiar ensemble. I couldn't discern how long I stood there, gazing at him. Suddenly, my mom pulled me out of the bouncy castle, guiding me to a table where she seated me between herself and my dad. Throughout the party, the tension remained palpable. The clown distributed bizarre gifts to the children, and when it came time for Jake to open his presents, his mom struggled to prevent the clown from handing him a particular gift. My uncle had to intervene, holding her back. The party continued, yet the cloud of unease lingered. The clown stayed the entire time, wandering the yard, crafting balloon animals and honking his nose for the children. When the moment arrived to unwrap the gifts, I couldn't help but fixate on the gift bag in the clown's hand. After Wendy, my cousin Lily's daughter, concluded her present opening, the clown approached her and offered her the bag. Lily received it gracefully, carefully delving into the tissue paper until she retrieved the book inside. "Thank you," Lily said, her smile warm as she expressed her gratitude to the clown. With a bow, the clown departed, leaping back over the fence. Relief washed over me as the clown disappeared, and I approached Lily, taking the book from her without protest. She seemed content with the book's removal. Deciding to follow my parents' example, I stashed it in the attic, though curiosity gnawed at me. The book bore a resemblance to others I had seen. A hardcover with a glossy dust jacket featuring a drawing on the front but lacking a title. This one depicted a girl akin to Lily, standing before a birthday cake, poised to extinguish the candles. The drawing mirrored Lily's curly brown hair and green eyes. As I opened the book, I noticed an inscription on the inside cover. Happy 10th Lily. The first page remained blank, but the story commenced on the following one. The book chronicled Lily's 10th birthday, her joy evident in every illustration. She laughed with friends, eagerly unwrapped gifts, and reveled in the festivities. One particular page showcased the arrival of the clown, leaping over the fence with an infectious grin. "This clown loves to party," the text declared, "and it loves 10th birthdays too. He will never miss a chance to show up where he's due." However, the narrative took a dark turn, hinting at an impending change. The clown appeared agitated, and ominous words hinted at an unusual event. On the subsequent page, chaos unfolded as the clown pursued terrified partygoers. Frightened guests were depicted with wide-eyed expressions, desperately fleeing the clown. In an unsettling twist, the clown revealed a sharp, shiny object from his pocket, unlike the usual balloon animals or handkerchiefs. The subsequent page showcased a gleaming butcher knife dripping ominously with red. The tale took a grim turn as guests met gruesome fates at the clown's hands, depicted in chilling detail. Throats were slashed, stabbings occurred, and limbs were severed. The final page showed the clown departing, leaving a pile of lifeless bodies behind. Trepidation settled over me as I slammed the book shut, realizing why our parents had concealed these books from us. The clown's intentions appeared far from benign, and I questioned why he distributed these sinister stories. Determined to follow in my parents' footsteps, I planned to discard the book at the party's conclusion. However, fate had other designs. As I discarded the book onto the kitchen counter, a scream shattered the silence. Panic ensued as the clown returned with a menacing butcher knife, sending the party into disarray. Guests fled, and I searched desperately for Lily, but she was nowhere in sight. Amid the chaos, Lily's mother and I managed to usher several family members inside the house, finding refuge in the kitchen and living room. After a prolonged period of terror, the screams ceased. Cautiously, I ventured outside and confirmed the clown's departure. My heart pounded as I beheld a nightmarish scene. 10 lifeless bodies scattered across the yard. I chose not to disclose my familiarity with the clown to the authorities, knowing they would dismiss my account of the curse. Instead, we feigned ignorance, explaining that we had not invited the clown. Once the night had drawn to a somber close, and the guests had departed, I assisted my wife in tidying up the aftermath. However, the book resurfaced as a troubling reminder. "What's this?" Sarah inquired upon discovering the book. "It's what he gave Lily," I replied, handing it to her. "Read it." After reading the book, Sarah cast it aside in disgust. "This is grotesque," she muttered. Was this his twisted plan? A sick joke. I merely shrugged, my thoughts consumed by the unfolding horror. "Did this happen to everyone else?" Sarah inquired. "I'm not certain," I replied. "Our parents never allowed us to see the books. This is profoundly disturbing, Stephen." In that moment, inspiration struck. An unsettling feeling crept over me, and I knew I had to investigate further. "I'm going to look for something," I declared abruptly. Ascending the attic's creaky stairs, I reached the dimly lit space and scoured through countless boxes and relics. After rummaging through aged belongings and shuffling aside old furniture, I unearthed the relic I sought. The book gifted to me on my 10th birthday, concealed beneath an antique chair's cushion. Clutching the book, I examined the illustration on the cover. A house with a solitary illuminated window. With bated breath, I opened the book, revealing an inscription that echoed my name. "Happy 10th, Stephen." Turning the pages, I revisited the story I had long forgotten. Today was Stephen's 10th birthday, and festivities abounded, capturing my youthful delight. But the final page bore a disconcerting image. An empty bed in a darkened room with an open window. A sense of foreboding overcame me, and I abandoned the book as I realized the ominous implication. A profound dread washed over me, and I called out for Lily. "Lily," I shouted, my voice trembling. Sarah inquired about the commotion, but I offered no response. My heart raced as I dashed down the hall and flung open the door to Lily's bedroom. Illuminated by the harsh light, the room revealed a grim truth. Lily was gone. Her bed sat empty, the window wide open.